Hey guys, welcome back to this video. In this video, we're looking at Christmas Carol, focusing on Stave 5. So Stave 5 is the end of it. And in Stave 5, Dickens concludes the narrative by shifting the focus from the grim shadows of the future to the joyful reality of the present. Having learned his lesson, Scrooge wakes up on Christmas morning with a transformed heart, eager to make amends for his past coldness. Through a series of heartwarming scenes, Scrooge displays exuberant generosity, sending a giant turkey to the Cratchits, donating to charity, and reconciling with his nephew Fred. Through these actions, Dickens highlights the power of redemption, emphasizing that true wealth lies in kindness and that it is never too late to become a good man. So, the key quote one is, "I will live in the past, the present, and the future." So when Scrooge wakes up on Christmas morning, he realizes with overwhelming relief that he has been given a second chance to change his life. This moment shows Scrooge's total spiritual transformation and his commitment to carrying the lessons of the three spirits with him every day. Dickens uses this scene to illustrate the theme of redemption, emphasizing that no matter how cold or selfish a person has been, it is always possible to change and lead a life defined by charity and love. Key quote 2 is, "I am as light as a feather, I am as happy as an angel, and I am as merry as a schoolboy." And Scrooge uses a series of vivid smiles to describe his new state of mind, contrasting sharply with the hard and sharp as flint description from the beginning of the novella. This shift highlights the psychological freedom that comes with generosity and kindness, and Dickens suggests that by shedding his greed, Scrooge has regained the innocence and joy of his youth, proving that a compassionate life is far more rewarding than a miserly one. Key quote 3 is, "To Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father." And here the narrator reveals that Scrooge's change in character had a direct, life-saving impact on the Cratchit family, specifically preventing the tragic future Scrooge had seen in his visions. This reinforces the idea of social responsibility, showing that the wealthy have the power to change the lives of the poor through direct action. It serves as the ultimate proof of Scrooge's salvation, confirming that his legacy is now one of life and kindness rather than death and neglect. So the present redemption. The final stave represents joy, restoration, and the power of transformation. Having survived the dark visions of the future, Scrooge wakes up with a renewed spirit and a desperate desire to make amends. He replaces his hard and sharp as flint persona with one of overflowing charity, visiting his family and becoming a benefactor to the Cratchit household. Dickens uses this sudden shift to prove that redemption is possible for anyone, suggesting that by choosing kindness and social responsibility, an individual can overwrite a dark future with one of light and legacy. Themes in Stave 5. So Stave 5 develops the theme of redemption by showing that no matter how deep someone's past sins are, it is never too late to change. Dickens also explores social responsibility, as Scrooge finally understands that his wealth is a tool to be used for the collective good rather than personal hoarding. Through Scrooge's joyful interactions with the charity collectors, his nephew, and the Cratchit family, Dickens highlights the restoration of human connection, proving that a life shared with others is far richer than one spent in isolation. The stave ultimately shows that active goodness is the key to a meaningful life, transforming Scrooge from a feared miser into a beloved figure in his community. A grade 9 interpretation then. So at a deeper level, Dickens uses his final stave to prove that true redemption is an active, ongoing process. The shift from the leaden weight of Scrooge's past to the light as a feather joy of his present suggests that spiritual rebirth is achieved through direct, tangible actions in the community. The restoration of Scrooge's relationship with Fred and his second fatherhood to Tiny Tim highlights that human connection is the antidote to the chains of greed. By allowing Scrooge to reintegrate into society, Dickens argues that the wealthy have a moral imperative to use their resources to alleviate the suffering of the poor, transforming a cold, industrial world into a compassionate one. Dickens therefore presents the conclusion as a social manifesto, encouraging readers to realise that a person's legacy is not written in stone, but in the hearts of those they help. He emphasises that the spirit of Christmas should not be a fleeting seasonal motion, but a permanent commitment to a social responsibility that can heal both the individual and the wider Victorian society. Exam style paragraph model. So how does Dickens present Scrooge in Stage 5? So in Stage 5, Dickens presents Scrooge as a reborn and exuberantly joyful figure, contrasting sharply with his previous miserly persona. When Scrooge wakes up and realizes he has been spared, his language shifts to a series of vibrant similes, claiming he is as merry as a schoolboy, which signals his spiritual return to innocence. His transformation is not merely internal. He immediately takes practical action to assist the Cratchit family and reconnects with his nephew Fred, showing that he now values human connection over hoarded wealth. The final description of Scrooge as a second father to Tiny Tim solidifies his redemption. Through this total reversal of character, Dickens presents Scrooge as a symbol of hope, suggesting that social responsibility and kindness are the keys to a truly wealthy and meaningful life. Why Stave 5 matters. So Stave 5 is crucial because it provides a resolution to Scrooge's journey, proving that his internal change has led to outward positive action. By witnessing Scrooge's exuberant joy and his light as a feather spirit, the reader sees the emotional reward of living a life dedicated to others rather than to gold. The survival of Tiny Tim provides ultimate proof of Scrooge's transformation, showing that individual social responsibility can directly combat the cruelty of poverty. More importantly, Scrooge's reconciliation with Fred and his community completes his redemption, transforming him from a solitary as an oyster outcast into a beloved figure who knows how to keep Christmas well.